we just talked about the just incredible numbers that are taking place in India. And one of the quotes he had, one of the statistics he had, which he mentioned in our pre-meeting and then brought it up, in India, I believe he said there are 18 million people per year that are turning 18 years old.
Yeah.
So
I think it was about 18 million, which is like, that's almost the size of Australia. Like it's 75% of the entire country is turning, what was the age window? Sorry?
18.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So like when you're just talking about like growing audiences, when, and they're, one of their big things with Dream Sport is Dream 11, which is a fantasy sports and, fan code, 18 kind of get in that fantasy sports place. So they're just talking about, just the sheer size of India already that they have to work with. And the fact that every single year an Australia-sized portion of the population is coming into an age range which they can target. It's quite a phenomenal statistic.
Yeah, actually, Australia's probably not a good example. Probably the Nordics. Let's go with the Nordics. Is probably closer to the mark because Sweden 10, Norway about 5. Yeah, we'll go with a bit of the Nordic region. But yeah, those are bonkers numbers, right? So if you've got a product that is purpose built for younger audiences, you're in a great place. What was the other study used? Like 10. They have on Google search they have 10 times the amount of searches for fantasy sports. 10 times more for Dream 11 than they do for fantasy sports as a search term, basically coining that they have cornered the market for fantasy sports in that space. The other thing I loved from the Dream Sports side is something I bang on a little bit, which is a bit more controversial to some people, is they are actively not interested in a 5-year business plan. He basically said, we only look at the next 12 months. We want to be as accurate as we can over the next 12 months with our planning and projections, and aren't too focused on longer term. They're more worried around direction of travel and momentum and being accurate in the next 12 months rather than that longer cycle. And that's something I say a lot in the business because I've seen too many people talk about 5-year plans or even 3-year plans. And we had that last year in our business where we had a great year, our best year, and it happened completely differently even then to what we had projected. So getting too far ahead of yourself in this world is a risky game to play. But I like the fact that they were advocating that they don't look at it for their investments or for themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, Dream Sport, he talked about they did their own investment round. I think maybe it was 2021, 2022. Massively successful, continuing to grow, year on year. And I think to the point, maybe some of the differences, and you kind of touched on what their Flow Sports stuff is, unlike some of those other businesses that are up there, they're actually actively investing. So they've almost gone from the point of, seeking investments, and now they've been so big, so successful. They're on the other side looking for things. And you mentioned it, talking about the community side, but even they reference like the niche sports is something, that they want to be able to tap more into. And that's where Flow Sports is really good at it. And, we were speaking to Mark, it's not necessarily because I think India is interested in, college wrestling or college athletics, but it's more, what are the products you're delivering? And Mark spoke about that quite a bit of Flow Sports is we just have to build a product that is so damn good that like people are willing to pay the price for getting some of those niche sports. And that's what they spoke about at Dream was, there was a community piece, but also, they want to do better at tapping into sports beyond cricket. There's more for them that they need to be able to go after. And yeah, they seem to be doing okay for themselves.
Yeah, they're in a good place. And there is definitely a thesis, a bit like the Dine model of surfacing and servicing that underserved audience and an underserved sport is such an opportunity if done right, if executed well, if the costs are low, and if you can get the top of the funnel really nailed on, then I think you've got something to work on. But obviously Dine's done that well, Flow Sports has done that well, and they're getting some scale. They're not in the $1 billion game yet, but at least they've proven out the model and it should be scalable the more sports you find. And I imagine in India, talking about the growth of the audience there, I could just see that in a few years that the NBA gets a bigger foothold, that's a great and obvious sport where could ride those coattails of audience growth and younger demographics through to something quite meaningful for a media partner.